Hello, Dr. Sushma Singh this side. Today in Unit 16, Gender, Caste and Class, let us start our lecture with topic Gender and Caste. Sociology in India, we have already learned about the various perspectives on caste in India, how the upper caste like the Brahmins viewed it, how the colonial rulers, Britishers and other Europeans viewed caste in India, and how other caste lower in the caste hierarchy perceived caste. Caste as a system of social stratification is said to have subsumed class in India. In the traditional Indian society, the upper caste were generally upper class, having all the resources and power, social, political, and economic, in their favor. The lower castes were generally landless laborers and service class that were low in status, economically poor, and politically powerless. It was only later that this harmony was disturbed during the colonial rule in India, when the land became a marketable commodity. The traditional power structure was disturbed and social mobility rate increased multifold due to the colonial impact and opening up of different occupational avenues. Economic betterment of middle castes and some lower castes as well, such as the Jatos of Agra. There are various theories of origin of caste in India, such as the theory of racial origin in terms of occupational and specialization, etc. But now of the writings on caste has looked at it in politically conscious or gendered terms, and they do not address the issue of power, dominance and hegemony as key issues in the caste society throughout its history. Kalpana Kanaviran writes that any analysis of caste by Indian is by definition political. It is either consciously chosen or unconsciously identifies with one of the two positions, supporting the status quo by proposing a caste for the concentration of power in the hands of those who already have it, or engaging critically with the status quo by developing a critique of Indian tradition. Needless to say, the most radical critique of caste and by extension the Indian tradition have come from intellectual and political activists, from Dalit groups and anti-Brahman movements, that is, critiques that have emerged from the life experience and worldview of these groups. These critics recenter caste firmly within the socio-political and cultural realities of those whose labor and sexuality has been traditionally misappropriated by the hegemonic group in caste society, namely the dominant caste. She believes that the single most important arena for the gendering of caste occurs in the arena of sexuality. The desire to regulate female sexuality has led to a considerable ritual preoccupation with female purity in the caste societies of Sri Lanka and India. Predictably, male sexuality is not ritualized in the same way. Now let us move to the point construction of gender and rituals. As is well known, rituals reveal a lot about the gender construction in a particular society. Amongst the Qadian, Yalman highlights two important ceremonies. The most important ritual for Qadian children, which is gender differentiated, is the ear piercing ceremony for girls before they attain the puberty. The second and by the far the most significant ritual is the one that marks the onset of male puberty. Here, as well as in many caste communities of the south of India, there are specific rituals which are performed when a girl begins to menstruate. The rites of passage making her entry into the adulthood is publicly celebrated and rituals are performed. During the period of menstruation, she is confined into a hut or a closed room so that she does not pollute others nor does harm come to her. The segregation is partly to protect her from hostile powers and domains of all are attracted to her at this time. Elaborate rituals surround the girl's purification after her first period. What is the need for only girls to go through these rituals, as believed by the villagers themselves amongst the Singhalis? Yalman reports these rituals relate as much to female fertility as to more honor. The villagers say that it protects the fertility of the womb of the woman, and this is necessary since the honor and respectability of man is protected and preserved through their woman. Now the next point is caste and regulation of sexuality and reproduction. Thus, it is very clear that caste and gender are closely related since the question of sexuality of women is directly linked with the purity of the race. Honor of the men. Therefore, the higher the caste, the more controlled would be the sexuality of their women. In caste societies such as Sri Lanka and India, more so in the upper caste than the lower caste. Elaborate institutions of hypergamy, where women can cohabit only with the men of their own caste or of a superior caste is practiced. They cannot marry a man who is lower in caste status than their own. Kanaviran says that women as seen through the lens of the dominant caste are mere receptacles for the male seed. The purity of the receptacles then ensure the purity of the offspring and sets to rest doubts about paternity. As said earlier, the control and concern over female sexuality are greatest in the caste which have the highest stake in the material assets of society, that is, the upper castes and classes. The concern with marriage networks, endogamy, exogamy being crucial to the maintenance of the caste system where men regulate the system through the exchange or control over women is central to any discussion on caste. The customary right of male-female members to exchange their female members in marriage, according to Lerner, antedated the development of the patriarchy and created the conditions for the development of the family. In India, the customary right acquired a further economic significance with the development of private property and caste stratification. The primary consideration in the forming of marriage alliance was and still is the maximizing of family fortunes. Women play a crucial economic role not only by providing free domestic labor but also through their reproductive services. Lehner argues that it was the sexual and reproductive services of the women that were cared under patriarchy, not women themselves. The commodification of women in the marriage market is in patrilineal caste society goes hand in hand with prescription for women's behavior and restrictions on their mobility. the dispossession of women in property and inheritance matter, and their absence in local level political and decision making bodies. The entire complex constituting the construction of gender in caste society is a construction that radically devalues the status of women in these societies. Now the next point is changing caste system and its impact on women. In contemporary India, many constraints on women due to their caste identity have been greatly reduced. In capitalist India, several new social classes have emerged. However, this does not mean that the age-old subordination of women has disappeared. The emergence of new classes has meant control of women in new and different forms from those under the caste system. Let us examine some of the issues related with gender and class in the next lecture. Thanks for listening.